This conference will now be recorded.
At this time, I'd like to call the Special Committee of the Whole meeting to order. Let the record reflect it is Tuesday, May 5th, 2020 at 5:33 p.m. Trustee Mueller, will be presenting an overview of how this remote meeting will be conducted. I am here in the building, but Mike has more agenda items, so he will be leading us through this.
Thank you, Trustee
Thanks,
Glotz.
Mike.
As a preliminary matter, this is Trustee Mike Mueller speaking. Before we get started, I would ask that anyone joining us remotely please be patient and respectful as we navigate this meeting remotely. In order for the meeting to run smoothly, speaking out of turn or inappropriate comments to be made or posted electronically will not be tolerated. As this is a remote meeting, we ask that all comments be germane as possible to the items on the agenda in order to keep the meeting moving forward in an orderly fashion. At this time, allow me to confirm that all members and persons anticipated on the agenda are present and can hear me. Members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. President Vanderburg. President Pro Tem Gotts.
Present.
Clerk Therian.
Present.
Trustee Berg.
Affirmative.
Trustee Brady.
Affirmative.
Trustee Brennan.
Present.
Trustee Galante.
Present.
Thank you. Staff, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. David Niemeyer.
Present.
Pat Carr.
Affirmative.
Laura Gadet.
Present.
Paul O'Grady.
Present.
Donna Framke.
Present.
Paula Walrick.
Present.
Matt Walsh.
Present.
Forrest Reeder.
Present.
John Urbanski.
Present.
Brad Bettenhausen.
Present.
Andrew Brown, sorry.
Present.
And Hannah Littman.
Present.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you in advance for your patience and cooperation throughout tonight's Committee of the Whole meeting, which is convening remotely via GoToMeeting. This open meeting of the Village of Tinley Park is being conducted remotely, consistent with the Governor Pritzker's Executive Order 2020-07, issued on March 16, 2020, which suspends the Open Meeting Act provisions related to in-person attendance by members of a public body. Specifically, the Governor's Order 1 suspends the requirement in Section 201 that members of a public body must be physically present, and 2 suspends the limitations in Section 7 on when remote participation is allowed. On April 30th, 2020, Executive Order 2020-33 reissued Executive Order 2020-07. In order to mitigate the transmission of the virus and reduce risk of COVID-19 illness, Executive Order 2020-07 furthermore encourages public bodies to postpone public business when possible. Therefore, tonight's agenda has been kept to a minimum. The Open Meetings Act requires public bodies to file for public comment. This meeting will feature public comment. Members of the public interested in commenting at this meeting were asked to provide their comment in writing via email or through Dropbox at Village Hall by noon today. They have also requested to be called via telephone during the public comment item. Please note that this meeting is being recorded and that some attendees are participating by web audio conference. All the materials for this meeting are available on the Village's website and recommend that members of the public follow the agenda as posted. Before turning to the first agenda item, allow me to cover some ground rules for effective and clear conduct of our business and ensure accurate meeting minutes. I, Trustee Mueller, will introduce each speaker on the agenda. After they conclude their remarks, the chair will go down the line of members, inviting each by name to provide any comment, questions, or motions. Please hold until your name is called. Further, please remember to mute your phone or computer when you are not speaking. Please remember to speak clearly in a way that helps generate accurate minutes. For any response or comment to an item, please wait until the chair yields the floor to you and always state your name before speaking. If members wish to engage in conversation with other members, please do so through the chair, taking care to identify yourself. After members have spoken, I will afford public comment as follows. The public was provided the opportunity to submit comments until noon today by emailing their public comments to the clerk's office at tinleypark.org or by placing their written comment in the drop box at Village Hall. The public was also provided an opportunity to submit a request until noon today to the clerk's office at tinleypark.org or by placing their written request in the drop box at Village Hall to participate publicly via live telephone call at the relevant portion of the public meeting. A village representative will call the provided telephone number and allow the phone to ring not more than 4 times. If the call is not answered within these 4 rings, the call will be terminated. If answered, the participant will be allowed to participate telephonically. The public comment should be presented in a manner as if the participant is in attendance at the meeting. At the start of the call, the participant should provide their name and any other information the participant wishes to convey. For comments regarding agenda items, identify and include the specific agenda item number. The participant should try to address all comments to the public body as a whole and not to any member thereof. Repetitive comments are discouraged. The total comment time for any single participant is 3 minutes. Further time, up to an additional 3 minutes, may be granted by a motion. A participant may not give his or her allocated minutes to another participant to increase that person's allocated time. Finally, each vote in this meeting will be conducted by roll call vote. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Berg.
Here.
Trustee Brady.
Here.
Trustee Brennan.
Present.
Trustee Galante.
Here.
Trustee Glass.
Present.
Trustee Mueller.
Present.
President Vandenberg. President Vandenberg is absent.
Item number 2. I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the Committee of the Whole meeting held on April 21st, 2020.
Second.
Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Second.
Trustee Berg.
Yes.
Trustee Brady.
Yes.
Trustee Brennan.
Yes.
Trustee Galante.
Yes.
Trustee Mueller.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Glass.
Yes.
Do you want to declare it carried, or do you want me to, Trustee Glatz?
Motion carried.
Item number 3, discuss recapture for costs related to utility extensions and lift stations serving the area east of LaGrange Road, generally between 179th Street, 183rd Street, and 94th Avenue. I believe Paula is going to take this item.
Yes, thank you. The agenda item is obviously regarding this utility extension that we've been planning for a while. Back in the fiscal year 18-19, the village board approved the design and design for the engineering of this extension along LaGrange Road, Route 45, near the intersection of 183rd Street. We've been under contract with Baxter Woodman Engineering on the design of that this past year. The whole idea with this concept was to provide an inducement for economic development in that area. It was noticed that that area was lagging in development on both sides of 183rd near Route 45. And so it was staff's recommendation to see if we could induce development by providing sewer in that area. Luckily, pretty much simultaneously with us moving forward on the engineering for the property, we had a development proposal from Top Hospitality for 2 Marriott branded hotels in this area, and you're going to hear more about those this evening. However, there was not adequate sewer and water available at that site. There was an ability to temporarily connect into an existing sewer south of that property, but it was only a temporary connection because the allotment for that sewer had already been allocated to other properties in the area. And the water that was existing in that area did not have adequate pressure to give us what we needed for a 4-story hotels without a water pump. Therefore, we've moved along with our Back to Woodman contract. We've gotten some preliminary estimates of cost and schedule for that. So since this was the village outlaying the costs up front, we wanted to provide a recapture for those costs. And those recapture would include everything besides the hard costs, also the soft costs for legal and engineering services, as well as any easements that were going to be required for this extension. The extension, as it goes in this area in a north-south direction, running parallel throughout 45, benefits 5 properties in that area, one of which is the hotel property. In addition to utility extension, we do need a lift station because of the topography over in that area, and therefore we'll also have to install or construct a lift station. So overall, with the cost, there are 5 properties that are benefiting from the extension and 4 properties that will benefit from the lift station. The ordinance that is before you this evening contemplates this cost being spread out to these properties on a square foot basis. So simply we took the areas of each of those properties and divide them by the overall cost of the project. We just have estimates at this time. The eventual cost that each participant or benefited property will be based on the actual cost of the project. We also have included an inflationary factor over the first 5 years that will be compounded annually. The finance director, Brad Dittenhausen, helped with that. If this goes out for a bond, we'll use the true interest cost as a meter for that evaluation, or if not, we'll use the CCI construction cost index to help compile what that interest cost would be. Right now, our preliminary estimates just for the utility extension is $1,875,000. That includes a 5% contingency, and the lift station's at $525,000, also with a 5% contingency. So our recommendation this evening is to approve the ordinance that has been prepared. This will be going forward to the village board following the committee of the whole, which will allow the village to recapture all costs associated with this utility extension and lift station. And that's all I have. Trustee Mueller.
Thank you, Paula. Do we have any comments from the board? Trustee Berg.
Yes, Trustee Berg here. I was just wondering, this $2 million that we're looking at here, is this, we're talking about recapturing all $2 million?
Yes, the recapture agreement provides for the capture of the hard costs for the improvements, as well as I mentioned, the legal, any necessary easements and engineering costs.
So we're 100% likely to recoup $2 million?
Well, no. I mean, it all depends on the development in the area. We'll recoup, all the properties will have this recorded against their properties. And so if anyone develops in that area and they're a benefited property, they will owe this amount. Only a crystal ball will tell us when those will improve.
So the $2 million will be apportioned between 4 individuals?
5.
Eventually.
5 individuals. Yes. Yes. And right now we have interest on one. We've had some interest also on another one recently. Nothing hard has come before us. No formal approval. But we have included, the recapture fees to be compounded annually for 5 years. After that, it remains stable. So, I mean, I'm sure Brad might have a comment on what the present value of money might be after, if we have to wait, 15, 20 years for something to develop in the area. But the whole idea is to do this so that something will happen. Without this, you're not going to see
Yes, I understand that. Yeah. Thank you, Paula. I just was wondering, we're putting out this amount of money under the budget that we don't even have right now. Kind of fearful about making a recommendation on that in the future. How's the equity from the petitioner? Are we all set? Are they still planning on moving forward despite the COVID crisis?
Yes, one of the agenda items later this evening includes a reclassification request by them. We've tied that to an agreement that will tie them to a schedule, and that is a further inducement to make sure that that occurs.
So we solely are voting on the recapture, not any specific monetary amount this evening. Is that correct?
There is no actually approval of any of this. It's a first read this evening, but yes, it's a first read for this ordinance that prescribes.
Just for the recapture, not for expenditure of $2 million.
Trustee Burke, this is the village manager. Yes, we haven't determined, as is mentioned in the memo, there's options for bonds, there's options for reserves. That's all a separate discussion which will happen later.
Thank you. Thanks for clarifying, Dave.
Sure.
Thank you, Paula.
You're welcome.
Trustee Brady.
No, fine by me. Sounds good. You have to move ahead forward.
Trustee Brennan.
I think this is great for that area. This is a good step in the direction for what we're looking for that part of the town. So I'm good on this.
Thanks, Bill. Trustee Galante.
I don't have any other questions right now. Thanks.
Trustee Glatz.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. Yeah, that the Western Corridor, it's been long overdue. We need to start building this, and I appreciate staff putting all this together. Thanks.
Yeah, and I'll just echo that last comment. I think Public Works and the Planning Department did a wonderful job on this, and it's long overdue, so excited to start moving forward on it. Do you want comments from staff, or are we good there, Dave?
I think we're good.
So I will make a motion to recapture the costs related to utility extensions and a lift station serving the area east of LaGrange Road, generally between 179th Street, 183rd Street, and 94th Avenue, to the Village Board for approval.
I'll second that motion.
Madam Clerk, you call the roll, please?
Trustee Burke.
Yes.
Trustee Brady.
Yes.
Trustee Brennan.
Yes.
Trustee Galante.
Yes.
Trustee Mueller.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Glass.
Yes. Motion carries.
Thank you, Mike. Item number 4, discuss the Cook County 7B reclassification for Top Hospitality LLC, DBA New Horizon. Paula, I think you're taking this one as well.
Yes, sir. And for efficiency, I think I will be able to explain this item and the next item somewhat comprehensively, in that they are both requests for 7B reclassifications, and they're both on behalf of Top Hospitality. And that is basically the Marriott hotels that I mentioned just previously. Haresh Jasani from Top Hospitality has proposed to build 2 hotels. He is seeking these reclassifications under the 7B Cook County Assessment Program. The first hotel that I'll discuss is the Residence Inn, and subsequently I will talk about the Marriott Courtyard. These are both Marriott-branded hotels. The first one, Residence Inn, is for the longer stay client. It's a 118-room hotel. His overall investment for this project is $17,630,000. And again, I'm not sure if there's a map there before you, but in your packet, this is the 8.7-acre parcel south of 183rd, just north of the WLS Tower, which has been vacant for some time. It is unincorporated Will County. and you'll be entertaining a petition for annexation later this evening regarding this parcel. And as you know, you've looked at some of these reclassifications before. We designated this area as a blighted area under the ordinance that was approved in February of 2019, Ordinance 219-009. And so we have the ability to look at these properties under a special classification that, with the village's support, they move directly on to Cook County for consideration. The applicant has hired a counsel for this. We've been in constant negotiations with them, and they have reviewed the documents put before them. So this 7B program, as you know, provides for taking the 25% commercial rate down to 10%. It is a 12-year program, although in the 11th and 12th year that rate reduces. There is opportunity for extending this as well. But 4 statements have been provided and reviewed by staff for the project. The unique part of this one that we haven't done in the past and was recommended by our attorney is that we provide an agreement, an incentive agreement that is a part of this resolution. And the benefit of that is it provides the village with some more assurances that what we are approving and the project that's being proposed for our consideration will indeed happen. And this speaks, I guess, to some of Trustee Berg's questions earlier. In the incentive agreement that's part of this reclassification, we'll make sure that all real estate taxes have been paid and that the property is developed in accordance with the plans as presented. And this has already gone through entitlement processes at the Plan Commission, and that the project is completed by December 31st, 2022. So even in light of COVID, we worked back and forth on these deadlines, and this is one both parties was comfortable with. They will phase this project. The Courtyard Hotel, which is on the west side of the property, will happen first, and this residence inn that I'm speaking of right now will be the second phase of their development. So what we're looking at this evening, the ECC did approve this on March 9th and recommended it for approval. So we're looking at this being recommended for approval to the village board, and there'll be a first reading on this at the next meeting.
Thank you, Paula. Questions from the board? Trustee Berg.
I'm so glad it's not a TIF. Thank you.
Trustee Brady.
No questions. Paul did a great job explaining everything and getting that area moving. Congratulations, Paula, and your staff.
Thank you.
Trustee Brennan.
No, I'm good, Mike. I appreciate it.
Trustee Glotz.
Hey, thanks, Mike. Paula, again, I want to echo what Trustee Brady said. Thank you for everything that yourself and Kimberly and Dan Ritter and our village attorneys, Paul O'Grady and his staff, and our public works for everything we've done on this. It's long overdue, and I'm glad to see that area of Tinley starting to build up.
Thank you, Trustee Glotz. No additional comments from me. So I will make a motion to move the 7B request for the Residence Inn Hotel to the village board meeting for approval.
Second.
Madam Clerk, you call the roll, please?
Trustee Berg.
Yes.
Trustee Brady.
Yes.
Trustee Brennan.
Yes.
Trustee Galante.
Yes.
Trustee Mueller.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Glass.
Yes. Motion carries.
Thank you, Trustee Glatz. Item number 5, discuss Cook County 7B reclassification for the Top Hospitality LLC, DBA New Horizon Courtyard. Paula, busy night for you.
Yes, for efficiency purposes, I know we have a long evening this evening. Everything that I just said pertains to this project as well. Again, this 8.7 acres is being divided into 2 parcels. One is for the residence inn that I just described, and the other is for the Marriott Courtyard, which is the northwest parcel of the subject parcel. And the only thing different is it's in this hotel, it's a $17,880,000 investment, 125-room hotel. It's a 4-story hotel, just like the residence inn. They project similar benefits in terms of the number of employees. So without going through the same exact setup, this is a 7B, reduces the taxes from 25 down to 10, has the same conditions in the incentive agreement, which I think is an excellent idea, that we condition our incentives to these kinds of incentive agreements. Once the incentive agreement is signed by the applicant, we will then execute these resolutions. So this is on your agenda later this evening. It was recommended for approval at the ECC on March 9th. Thank you.
Comments from the board. Trustee Berg.
Without reforecasting the revenue side of the budget, I still would like to move forward with this idea. Hopefully it'll all work out.
Thank you. Trustee Brady.
Absolutely. And Paula, thank you for saving some time by combining 4 and 5 almost together. Thank you.
Trustee Brennan.
No, I'm good on this one too, Mike. I think this appreciate staff's work on all these projects, and looking forward to some development in that area.
Trustee Galante.
No questions. I agree with what everybody's saying. Glad it's happening.
No additional comments from me. Thanks again, Paula, for all the hard work and the rest of your team. President Pro Temp Glatz, or Mayor Pro Temp Glatz, sorry.
Yes. Thanks, Mike. Again, I just want to echo what Trustee Brennan said. Thank you, Paula, the whole Community Development Department, and our village attorneys for putting this together, and our staff. Thank you.
So I will make a motion to move the Class 7B request for the Country Yard Hotel to the Village Board for approval. Looking for a second.
I'll second that motion.
Thank you, Bill.
Trustee Brennan.
Madam Clerk, you call the roll, please?
Trustee Berg.
Yes.
Trustee Brady.
Yes.
Trustee Brennan.
Yes.
Trustee Galante. Yes. Trustee Mueller.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Glatz.
Yes. Motion carries. Thank you, Christian.
Item number 6, discuss text amendments to temporary use Pete's Market. Paula Walrick again.
I'm feeling a little guilty. I get the projects that bring good news to the village in this difficult time. But we have another project on the horizon, and that is Pete's Market. The vacant, abandoned Kmart property over on Harlem Avenue has been purchased by the corporation, and they intend on building a new structure there, as well as utilize the vacant structure that exists there now. One of the issues they have, however, is somewhat of a product of COVID, in that they already have warehouses near their stores in the more northern suburbs, but they are warehousing a lot of equipment and structures and display cabinets and so forth as part of their day-to-day operations. With COVID happening, they are finding themselves in a situation of having to order products of necessity when they're available, which sometimes places an undue burden on those facilities. What they would like to do, since they own the property and there was a warehousing section in the back of the Kmart, they would like to use a portion of that store, about 50,000 square feet, and it's 50,000 of the total 158,000 and some change square foot area, to store some of this equipment. They don't anticipate a lot of product being stored there, but they also want the ability to be able to store some product if they have opportunities to buy in bulk. The problem is we do not allow warehousing distribution uses in the B3 district, which that property is zoned. We do provide, however, temporary uses in the village. This is done for a lot of things, the outdoor sales, or Christmas trees, or plants, and so forth, and that's allowed in our zoning ordinance right now. But warehouses and distribution centers is not an identified temporary use in our current code. Therefore, for us to allow them to use this on a temporary basis until they can get their final approval and entitlement through the Plan Commission, we need to look at a text amendment for how the ordinance is written and allow for temporary uses. And when I first started looking at this, it wasn't so out of reach to even contemplate that, especially under conditions like what we're experiencing now. There may be other things happening in our B3 district, such as maybe a fire or a flood or something, where one of our existing businesses might want to take advantage of a vacant store in the same strip center or in the same commercial center that they really couldn't take advantage of under our current structure of our zoning code. So what's being proposed before you this evening is a text amendment that would add temporary uses to that list of uses that we already have. And we certainly want to be cautious about this. We don't want warehouse distribution centers popping up all over town. Therefore, we would relegate these just to B3 districts, and those B3 districts are those that you recognize as our larger commercial centers that are already designed to accommodate daily truck traffic, semi-truck traffic, and the sort. If you think about properties where Sam's Club is and Target, they already have a fair amount of warehousing that they keep on site, and they have daily truck deliveries, and that B3 district is designed to accommodate that. So this isn't so far out of character for the district that we're recommending a consideration of a temporary use for. We are going to suggest some conditions. Don't allow this to go beyond 50,000 square feet. Make sure that the property can accommodate the related truck traffic from this temporary use, and confine it to a 6-month period. We did include an opportunity to extend that. This would be by village board approval for up to a 12-month period, but the maximum amount of time that this use could be held would be a total of a year. So the recommendation that staff is providing for you this evening is to consider changing the zoning code to include warehouse distribution uses in the B3 districts with the condition of 50,000 square feet as a maximum size, and that it can provide adequate turning radiuses and truck traffic volumes, and limit it to a maximum of 1 year with 6-month terms. This is then, it's not being considered anymore this evening, but with this recommendation from the village board, we can take this to the Plan Commission for the normal protocols and processes to amend the text amendment, and then it would return to you for final approval later this month. That's all I have.
Thank you, Paula. Received comments from the board. Trustee Berg.
Thanks, Paula. This is great. I'm very happy that this 20-year-old building is finally finding its use. I'm also not averse to this being rezoned warehouse permanently. Thank you.
Trustee Brady.
I have to agree with Trustee Berg, but I have a question. Is there anything on the table, on a timetable, when Pete's Market would eventually go in there as Pete's Market?
Yes. they have, on May 19th, we've scheduled or tentatively scheduled a consideration for reclassification, similar to what you did this evening for Marriott. And similarly, we will be providing an incentive agreement which will tie them to a schedule for construction, for renovation of the warehouse building, the existing building, and for construction of the new Pete's store.
Okay, and what end are they? The south side, or I'm sorry, the east side or the west side? Do they plan to be using it 50,000 square feet?
Well, I don't have a floor plan, Trustee Brady, but it's my understanding it leans more to the southwest of that existing building. But I'm not entirely sure. I've not seen a build-out plan.
Okay, thank you.
Trustee Brennan.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. No, I'm really excited about Pete's. This has been, in the works for a while here, and kind of excited to see a semi-step in the right direction here with getting them on board and helping them out here with the warehousing. Definitely looking forward to some retail over there with their new store here in the coming years. So, definitely wouldn't want to make this warehousing only going forward, but definitely appreciate staff's work on all this. I know they all worked a lot of hours on it, so thanks to everyone.
Trustee Galante.
Thanks, Mike. I feel the same. I'm really not for warehousing at all, except, for Pete's, I think I'm very excited the same. I'm excited about them coming, and I'm excited about all of this. My question is more on the text amendment change you're going to make, or you want to make on this. Are you saying that you would make a change that would allow, this temporary warehousing to happen without going back through for board approval in the future, if this was to go through and be changed?
No, the ordinance as it's written now, any temporary use has to receive board approval, and the board has the right to place any kind of condition on it. So this definitely will come back to you as part of their application for the temporary use.
Okay, thank you very much.
I'll go next. I just want to thank Kimberly, her staff, and Paula, the lawyers that were involved. This was a very complex one to get to the point where we can present this to the board in this manner, and then to the Plan Commission coming up here. I know a lot of hours went into this one. I was on a lot of the calls with Pete's. It didn't start in a great place, but I think we worked out something that's going to be great for Tinley Park long-term with, the potential of getting Pete's Market here, and then we're helping out Pete's with the warehouse with the pandemic going on and helping them serve their customers, being able to take over stock and get it into a building to keep it safe while they get it out to the different stores. So I think we've really struck a good bargain here, for lack of a better term, and I'm looking forward to seeing it go forward. Mayor Pro Temp Glotz.
Thanks, Trustee Mueller. Echo some of the things that you said, Mike. Give a little history of this project. So, when they came here, it just, unfortunately, their original meetings and discussion, it didn't start out very well. And I want to thank Trustee Galante and Dave Niemeyer. The three of us met with Pete's. We had a very long meeting with them, and it went really well. And it got back on track. And then Trustee Mueller, myself, and staff has had several conference calls on this to make sure that it stays on the right track and it's moving forward. I mean, it's 74,000 square feet of a grocery store that I'm really excited. It's not your normal grocery store. It's got different clientele. And Paula, she's been the lead on this. You've been amazing. Our attorneys have been, like Mike said, have been great. I don't think if we didn't have Paul working with them, we would have got through all all the problems that we had with it. Thank you, Paul. And they're estimating roughly it's going to bring the village, that one project, about $1 million in revenue. So I'm really looking forward to them breaking ground. Thanks, Mike.
Thank you. So I will make a motion to move Pete's Market text amendment to the village board meeting for approval.
Second.
Madam Clerk, you call the roll, please.
Trustee Burke.
Yes.
Trustee Brady.
Yes.
Trustee Brennan.
Yes.
Trustee Galante.
Yes.
Trustee Mueller.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Glatz.
Yes. Motion carries. Thanks, Clerk Darian.
Item number 7, discuss renewal of the contract with J&J Newell for the concrete flatwork and curb repair program. Mr. Obanski, I believe you're going to take this one?
Yes, sir. Thank you. This is a renewal of a existing contract for our annual sidewalk and curb repair services. We put this out to bid, came back with great numbers back in 2019. We're requesting the committee and subsequent board approval for the contract. The contract did allow for a 2.5% annual increase. The numbers still look good with the annual increase. It is a unit cost contract, so based on our reductions that we did do recently in our budget, we're still going to request that we move this forward to have the overall unit cost meet our current upgraded budget.
Thank you, John. Comments from the board. Trustee Berg.
Looks good. We're still in a good range, price-wise.
Trustee Brady.
No problem. Go for it.
Trustee Brennan.
Yep, looks good to me. Appreciate all the work you did on John.
Trustee Galante.
I'm good.
I'll go next. This was a great deal when we got it last year. Happy to extend it. So, Mayor Pro Tem Glatz.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. Thanks, John, for putting this together. They've done a great job over the last couple of years, and I'm glad that we are able to extend it.
Thank you, Trustee Glatz. I will make a motion to move the concrete extension with J&J Newell Concrete Contractors, Inc. for the concrete flatwork and curb repair to the village board meeting for approval. Still looking for a second.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Trustee Galante.
Trustee Kamar.
Mike, can you have Laura call the roll, please?
Laura, can you please call the roll? One second, she's just positioning herself.
Trustee Berg?
Yes.
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Brennan?
Yes.
Trustee Galante?
Yes.
Trustee Mueller?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Glatz?
Yes, motion carries. Thank you.
Item number 8, discuss renewal of the contract with Traffic Control Corporation for the pavement striping program. John, you have this one as well?
Yes, sir. So this is another renewal of a contract that we had bid out last year. This is for our pavement striping program. The low bidder was Traffic Control Company. The annual increase is 1.25%. This is also a project that was bid out at a unit cost setup. So we are able to continue with this project with a defined scope that will meet our updated budget level.
Thank you, John. Comments from the board. Trustee Berg.
John, what it says here, it says $87,000 to match the approval from last year. is still $3,000 under budget, correct?
Correct. So that this, again, our contract is set up as a cost not to exceed $87,000. We have the ability in the verbiage of the contract to essentially put that number wherever we need it to be. It was, with our reductions to the budget, we are still at $90,000. So we still have room if we need to reduce it further. Correct. Okay.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, Trustee Berg. Trustee Brady.
You're up.
No comments, Trustee Brady?
No comments. Just heard you.
Sorry about that. Trustee Brennan.
No comment from me. This looks good. Looks good on my end. So thank you.
Trustee Galante.
No comments for me.
No comments from me. The contract looks great. Thank you for all your hard work, John. Mayor Pro Tem Glatz.
Thank you, John.
I will make a motion to move the renewal of the contract with Traffic Control Corporation for the pavement striping program to the village board for approval.
I'll second that motion, Mike. This is Trustee Brennan.
Thank you.
Madam Clerk, can you please call the roll?
Trustee Berg.
Yes.
Trustee Brady.
Yes.
Trustee Brennan.
Yes.
Trustee Galante.
Yes.
Trustee Mueller.
Yes.
President Pro Tem Glatz.
Yes. Motion carries. Thanks, Clerk Marion.
Item number 9, discussed post 7, 164th Street and Harlem Avenue forced main improvements. John, this one's yours as well.
Yes, sir. Thank you. So this is a addition to the contract that was bid out last year for the post 7 forced main sanitary sewer work. For those of you that recall, we had a section of this pipe that had an emergency repair down on the areas of Ridgeland, Normandy, and 167th where it burst underground. That caused us to put out to bid a full televising, lining, repair maintenance program. We approved, or we established this program in a multiple phased alternate bid, and we awarded and approved all the way up to alternate number 4, which got us last year's, what was able to be funded by last year's budget. And that included all the pipe on 167th from just west of Oak Park Avenue all the way to Ridgeland. The alternate that we're requesting now is the lining portion of that pipe. We did not want to proceed into alternate 4, which would cause us to start cutting open 167th Street, opening the pipe up, doing the televising and cleaning without having the subsequent lining portion of this budget approved. Obviously, if we didn't have alternate 5 approved, we would be backfilling and replacing all the concrete and only doing half of the project. So, the in situ form, or I'm sorry, Visu Sewer and Aries, their subcontractor, were nice enough to get in front of this before they started doing the work, and put a hold on the project so we can approve this portion. And again, it's going to save us a lot of money by doing both phases of the project together instead of trying to separate them. So this request is to do the lining portion of any of the pipe that needs to be done.
Thank you, John. Comments from the board. Trustee Berg.
Excellent. Thank you, John.
Thank you, Trustee Berg. Trustee Brady.
Yes, thank you, John. Glad you're on top of that. Certainly to do 2 operations at the cost of 1. Glad you're on top of it. Thank you.
Trustee Brennan.
I'll just echo Trustee Brady's comments. It's always glad to get 2 for 1. So appreciate all the work you did on it, John.
Trustee Galante.
Thank
Thank you. Only thing I want to say is I really do appreciate my day in Public Works, and I can picture the day sitting there watching them look through the pipes. So I can understand what this is all about. So I'm definitely for this. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Galante. Nothing to add from me. Great work, John. Good to see, we're, like Trustee Brady said, doing two at the same time, so great work. Mayor Pro Tem
Thank you all.
Klotz.
Yeah, I just want to echo probably what half the board just said. John is, thank you. He's a great leader. Thanks for putting this together. So basically, we got more done for less. That's it. Thanks, John.
I will make a motion to move Post 7, 164th Street and Harlem Avenue Forest Main improvements to the Village Board for approval.
So moved?
Madam Clerk, you call the roll, please.
Trustee Berg.
Yes.
Brady.
Yes.
Trustee Brennan.
Yes.
Trustee Galante.
Yes.
Trustee Mueller.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Glatz.
Yes, motion carries. Thanks, Clerk Darian.
Item number 10, discuss the fiber optic extension project, 80th Avenue Train Station, to Post 11 Water Tower. John, your last one for the night.
Yes, thank you. All right, so this project extends our village-owned infrastructure for our fiber optic and telephone circuitry from the 80th Avenue train station to the water tower at the comment right-of-way just north of 179. A little bit of history is we have a infrastructure that starts all the way at the Village Hall. The village has installed infrastructure all the way around down 183rd. When the 80th Avenue train station was constructed, we had an IGA with Metro to get us some pipeline under the railroad tracks. So right now our infrastructure dead ends, our hardline infrastructure dead ends at the train station. Over the years, we've been trying to get this project put together. And as you see, the budget available was upwards of $400,000 because of quotes we got from some larger directional boring corporations. Working with Colby and trying to get some of this these costs down, we were able to get a great bid in at from IHC Construction in the cost of $127,940, which again is a fraction of what our original estimates of this project were. So we also have an ROI on this because we have some pretty extensive phone lines going to the water tower that would show for some savings after this project was installed. So we're asking to take advantage of this great bid and allow us to get our infrastructure to the water tower.
Great, thank you, John. Comments from the board. Trustee Berg.
Yes, John, I'll take advantage of this great bid. Thank you.
Trustee Brady.
Seems like a no-brainer, John. Nice job. Thank you.
Trustee Brennan.
No, great job to Colby and John on this. This is, very well received. Always good to see things come under budget that much. So appreciate all your work on it.
Trustee Galante.
No questions or anything. Thanks.
Nothing from me. Mayor Pro Tem Klotz.
I just want to say thanks again, John, for the history lesson. And I'm glad we waited to get this done until now because we got it a lot cheaper.
Thank you. So I'll make a motion to move the fiber optic extension project, 80th Avenue train station to Post 11 water tower to the Village Board for approval.
So moved?
Madam Clerk, you call the roll, please.
Trustee Berg.
Yes.
Trustee Brady.
Yes.
Trustee Brennan.
Yes.
Trustee Galante.
Trustee Galante. Trustee Mueller.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Glatz.
Yes, motion carries. Thanks, Clerk Darian.
Item number 11, discuss the village manager's authority to contract for the purchase of electricity, street lighting accounts. Dave, you taking this one?
Yes, thank you, Trustee Mueller. This is a item that we discuss annually. As you're all aware, we're a member of a consortium, the Northern Illinois Municipal Electric Collaborative, that we use electric aggregation, mostly known for our residential, but separately they do bids for both our water pumping stations, which you approved just a few weeks ago. And now what's coming up is our street lighting accounts. So the nature of these bids are that we were getting those on June 4th. We get those bids. We need to make decisions that day. So really what I'm looking for is a motion that will be on the board to have your authority to sign agreement to take advantage of the lowest bidder. And again, hopefully we'll get as good as prices as we did on the pumping station, where we saved some money last time. But that's what we were looking for tonight, is a motion to give me the authority to contract for the purchase of the street lighting electricity contracts.
Thank you, Mr. Niemeyer. Comments from the board. Trustee Berg.
I'm in agreement. Thank you.
Trustee Brady.
I'm in agreement as well.
Thank you, Trustee Brady. Trustee Brennan.
No comment here. I'm good.
Trustee Galante. Are these always 48 hours? I'll just go next. It's typically what it is.
Yeah, it is. It's just, yeah, it's based on the market, and that's why it's, you know, the market changes, so you kind of just got to make that decision while the market's at where it's at.
Makes sense.
Yep.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Glatz.
I'm good. Thanks, Dave.
I will make a motion to move the village manager's authority to contract for the purchase of electricity, street lighting accounts to the village board for approval.
I'll second that motion.
Thank you, Mr. Brennan.
Madam Clerk, you call the roll, please?
Trustee Berg. Yes. Trustee Brady.
Yes.
Trustee Brennan.
Yes.
Trustee Galante.
Yes.
Trustee Mueller.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Glass.
Yes, motion carries. Thanks, Clerk Darian.
Item number 12, discuss the request for a rent reduction due to COVID-19 for Cavallini's at Oak Park Avenue train station. Mr. Niemeyer, this one's yours as well.
Sure. Thank you again, Trustee Mueller. Just as some background here, I think as everyone is aware, we've had an agreement for a number of years with Cavallini's in the park. We're actually on our second 5-year license agreement. Had an excellent relationship with the owner, with everything going on with COVID-19. And obviously Metro ridership being next to nil. They've lost about 90% of their revenues since March 16th. The request was for a waiver or reduction in fees, in the license fees for the COVID time. The board did approve this agreement. Talking with the village attorney, technically I could make the decision, and I certainly support waiving the fees for April and May, or as long as the stay-at-home order is in place. So any further requests beyond that would be brought to the board's attention. And just as a note, because I know the question has come up, the owner did try to get money through the federal stimulus program. Has not become available, but certainly that would condition if there was any funds received from the federal government that we would revisit this rent reduction. So that's what we're requesting.
Thank you, Dave. Comments from the board. Trustee Berg.
I'd like to help him out. I think it's a good idea. Thank you.
Trustee Brady.
I would like to help them out as well, but are we setting a precedent here? I mean, there are other businesses that are affected by the pandemic as well. How do we say no to somebody else?
Trustee Brady, well, I mean, this is, again, this is a village tenant relationship, so it's not, obviously, we wouldn't really have any say over any other business. I do think it's a unique situation. It's challenging, as we just learned from the 80th Avenue train station, it's challenging for tenants to go into these spots. And so I think we certainly want to work with our tenants. It's not an easy location, and so I would differentiate it, though, from a private business. This is something that the village runs. It's an important part of the train station mission there, and it's not easy to be successful with kind of a unique location in that. So that's why I would support this.
Well, good point. Thank you. I'm for it then.
Trustee Brennan.
Yeah, I mean, I'd agree. I think, it's good to be a good landlord per se, and give them the benefit of the doubt. I would say that, Dave I did have trouble, getting, I know a lot of my clients had trouble getting through the SBA program as well, and but I think, is there any way that we could verify that he didn't get any, like, the EIDL loan, or if there's any compliance with that? I don't know how we go about that, but I think it's definitely good to give him the benefit of the doubt and be a good landlord for such a good tenant. So I'm good with it.
Do you want to comment on that or no?
I did talk with our business development manager, Priscilla Cordero, about that. She wasn't aware of any way that we, would be able to find that out, but we can continue, certainly to monitor that. And if there's a way that we can find out, I've told the owner that he needs to let us know. And obviously the hope would be that he would, but I've heard the same story with a lot of businesses. There was a lot of difficulty for a lot of businesses getting that money, so that's not surprising that he was not able to get it. So.
No, it was definitely difficult, especially if you're dealing with a big bank.
Right,
so
right.
I can definitely understand that. So thanks for keeping an eye on that.
Thank you, Bill. Trustee Galante.
The only thing I had kind of the same concerns that Trustee Brady brought up about setting that precedent. And I agree, they are a great, unique business and that we are the landlord for. So I guess we do, we can help him out. But he is a very successful business. I mean, it's not a private location strictly for us to benefit from. He has really a great following of. I've gone to a lot of events there, showers, everything. He has a regular business there. So I just don't want to, as long as we feel we don't have the, setting a precedent that we're helping out businesses and in that vein, we're hurting other people because they don't feel we're helping them. That's my only concern there. And then also I just wanted to question, is he open during the, is he open at this time? Is he doing any curbside? Can we see part of the chamber? Can they, maybe we can publicize that. I didn't even realize if they were open.
From everything I've seen, they have been staying open, but the foot traffic through that has been down, 97%.
The other thing I wanted to point out too is, the dollars that we're talking about, it's $700 a month. And again, in the scheme of things, I think if it helps us keep a good long-term tenant there, and we don't have to, to go through what we're going through with 80th Avenue, where we expect to have a vacancy for a while, I think it's a good investment in the long-term future of that place too.
Thank you, David. I'll go next. A lot of good points brought up, but yes, I really believe that we're acting as just a good landlord in this situation, similar to what Trustee Brennan had to say. I think if we can defer getting some revenue from this particular piece of property while we kind of weather this storm. We're going to have a coffee shop that's available to our ridership at that train station once they get back onto the trains. So I'm all for this. It's, you know, it's not a ton of money, but this may help a bit with his cash flow, and hopefully keep him in business for when we get back on the Metro trains and start going back to work. So I'm all for it. Mayor Pro Tem Glatz.
Oh, thanks, Mike. I kind of had some of the same questions that Trustee Brady had along the same lines. And Dave, you make a great point. They're not a regular business. We own the building, and there's nothing going in or out of there. We're already probably going to have 80th Avenue vacant 6 to 9 months. And if this will help make sure that, you know, one of our 2 beautiful train stations continue to do business and do well, I'm okay with it. And some people use the train station as their office, so I'd hate to take away some office space for people.
I might switch train stations if it means getting a cup of coffee in the morning. So, thank you, Trustee Glatz. I'll make a motion to waive the base fee of $700 for April and May, or as long as the stay-at-home order is in place for Cavallini's at Oak Park Avenue train station, to the Village Board for approval.
I'll second that motion. This is Trustee Brennan.
Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Trustee Burke.
Yes.
Trustee Brady.
Yes.
Trustee Brennan.
Yes.
Trustee Galante.
Yes.
Trustee Mueller.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Glatz.
Yes. Motion carries. Thanks, Clerk Darian. Item 13, receive comments from the public. Were there any public written comments received by email or via Dropbox at the Village Hall?
No.
No.
That's
Okay.
Attorney Paul.
Are there any
McGrady.
requests for telephonic public comments?
No, this is Attorney Paul O'Grady, no.
All right. Thank you, Paul. I'll make a motion to adjourn the committee, the special committee of the whole meeting.
So moved. This is Trustee
Thank you,
Brady.
Bill. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Trustee Burke.
Yes.
Trustee Brady.
Yes.
Brennan.
Yes.
Trustee Galante.
Yes.
Trustee Mueller.
Yes.
Trustee Glatz.
Yes. Motion carries, and we are adjourned.